Hey friends, so I am barely hanging on over here. I mean, I haven't washed my hair in days. Like, I just threw on some makeup really quick to try to do this video for you guys because honestly, it has been a really rough week with sick kiddos and so much going on. I didn't even get to film anything for you guys on Tuesday, so I'm sorry about that, but it was just one of those weeks where I just had sick kiddos and I had to tend to my family. I may look pretty rough, but this video will hopefully provide a lot of value for you guys because this is actually taken from a workshop that I did on Made to Homeschool. I got on there and went live and I did a workshop with slides and everything about how to balance homemaking and homeschooling. And so if you're a member over there, I would highly suggest looking there instead of watching this video because I go into way more detail over there on Made to Homeschool. I'm really hoping that this will be really encouraging to you. And if you're feeling discouraged in your homemaking or your homeschooling, I really think this will help. So let's dive in. So if you see me looking down, I've got my laptop open. I'm looking at some of my notes that I did for my workshop for Made to Homeschool. So when we're home all day with our kids, because we homeschool, we've got a lot going on, we're homemakers, we have this temptation to really want to make our homes feel like a museum, right? That we just want it to look pristine because we're there all the time and we want everyone to feel relaxed and cozy and just have a really nice atmosphere for homeschooling. So we can get so caught up in the homemaking, picking things up, cleaning, and then our homeschooling really suffers. But then on the flip side of that, we can be so involved in homeschooling that the dishes don't get done, the toilets don't get clean, laundry piles up, and it just becomes chaos. So what are we to do? How are we gonna balance all of this? Because it really does feel like a juggling act sometimes, right? You may have even asked yourself, is it really a myth that I can't balance homeschooling and homemaking? And to that, I would say no. I believe it is possible to balance homemaking and homeschooling. But before I get into that, please know there's no one right way to do this, okay? Your house is different than my house. Your family is different than my family. We all have different family dynamics, different things that we're involved in, and different seasons that we're in, okay? So what I do may not necessarily work for you. So you're just gonna have to figure out the best solution that will work best for your family in the season of life that you're in. This is something to get before the Lord about, pray about it, talk to your husband about it. God really will direct you in this if you will ask him about it. So that's my first tip. Pray about it. A big step to balancing it all for me was acceptance. And by that, I mean, I really had to accept that everything is not going to be perfect all the time. I would walk into friends' houses that they worked and so they weren't there all day long, or I would see people on Instagram that seemed like they just did homemaking and homeschooling perfectly all the time and everything was perfect in both of those areas. So we really can't compare ourselves to other people, guys. That will steal your joy, like I've said many times, but it also is just gonna take you down a rabbit hole of just feeling like you're inadequate and you're not good enough and you'll never be good enough and blah blah blah, all the things that the enemy wants you to feel. So that's never a good thing. So don't compare yourself to somebody else, especially someone who is not in the home all day long. You are in your home all day long homeschooling. It is not gonna look like somebody who is out of the house the majority of the time. But homeschooling and homemaking can go hand in hand. You just have to adjust your expectations first. And this was really hard for me. I don't think I got really good at this until after I had my fourth child. But I had to come to the realization that there's some things that are really important and some things that just aren't. And I can't get to everything. So I've got to figure out what is most important and focus on those things instead of trying to do every single thing every single day. You got to remember, this is not the season that you can keep a pristine house. This is the season where you're raising babies, you're making memories, you're homeschooling, you're having adventures, and you got to remember your house is going to keep getting messy. It's just inevitable. There will be a season in your life where you can clean up and it stays that way. I go to my mom's house and I'm like, how do you live in this? It's just everything is perfect all the time. And that's just the season of life she's in. So in an effort to be all there while I'm homeschooling, I have had to lay some other things aside. So I do sometimes do a few things during our homeschooling time, but for the most part, I am focused on homeschooling during those usually 3 homeschooling hours in the morning time. And I'm not trying to do all of these other things. So how this works day to day for me is I will get up, I will do some chores, usually about 30-45 minutes after I wake up. So after I have my quiet time and some coffee, then I start making the bed. I start a load of laundry. I feed my sourdough. I start getting some breakfast ready for the kids. So I do a good many chores before school, and the kids also have a list of morning chores that they're completing before school. And then after school is when we do another kind of tidy up session, because y'all know after homeschooling, the house can look like chaos, especially if you have toddlers like I do. It can be really crazy. So we try to do a little bit of picking up after lunch, after we get homeschooling done. And then in the afternoon, I do a lot of like my house chores. I usually spend only about an hour on this kind of stuff. I'm talking about like cleaning, laundry, wiping countertops, cleaning floors, wiping cabinets, those kind of things I do in the afternoon. And I also will spend usually about another hour on doing some kind of decluttering project or organizational project. But then before my husband comes home, we do the blessing hour, which I've talked about before, where we just pick up the house. We all gather, and I usually say, okay, come to me. I'm gonna hand you this. I want you to go put this place. I want you to put this place. And then I say, and keep coming back to me. And so everybody just keeps coming to me, and I give them things to put away until the house is somewhat picked up. Now this is usually just a few rooms in the house. It's not the whole entire house, just the main areas that we're at throughout the day that need the tidying up. So we do that right before my husband gets home, and then sometimes we'll do another little tidy up session right before bed, like for 5 or 10 minutes if it needs it. But that works really great for us. Now the next thing is you want to decide what's most important to you, okay? What do I want to spend the most of my time and my energy on? So for me, I like a clean kitchen, and I like the main living area to be decluttered. If I have those 2 things done, I feel like I can breathe. I feel like I have a good handle on things, and it keeps my stress level to a minimum. Now, my husband and kids, they have a little bit of a different priority. They like having clean clothes. They like a good meal. So my husband could really care less if our bed is made, but if I went probably 4, 5, 6 nights in a row and didn't have dinner on the table, there would probably be an issue. He'd probably be like, what's going on? Are you okay? So that's kind of his priorities. But whatever your family's priorities are, figure those out and then stick to those, and keep them simple and stick to the basics. So now that you figured out what your family's priorities are, now you need systems put in place to be sure that those priorities get done every day or every week, right? So here I'm talking about things like meal planning and cleaning schedules and daily routines, chore charts. All of those kind of things help you accomplish the task that you need to accomplish, and they make sure that everybody else in the house knows what to do and knows what's going on. So if meals are a big priority for you, get yourself a meal planner. If having clean clothes is a big priority for you, get yourself a laundry system. Figure out, when are you going to get this done? Is it going to be every single day? Are you going to do laundry every single day? Are you going to have one day a week to do it? How is the system going to work? For me, I just kind of throw a load in, and it's just part of my daily rhythm. I throw a load in. Soon after we finish school, I switch it towards the afternoon hour. I'll pull it out, I'll fold it, and I put it away right then. That's just my routine. It is literally like brushing my teeth now for me, and it's just what I do. But figure out what's gonna work for you. Put a system in place to help you accomplish that goal. Maybe having a really clean house is a big priority for you. So in that case, a cleaning schedule is going to be your best friend. You guys know I love a cleaning schedule. I just do a little bit of cleaning every single day. I don't ever spend more than like an hour on cleaning unless I have to clean the whole house in one day, because I put off my tasks throughout the week, which sometimes happens. But for the most part, I do a little every day. So one day I might focus on floors. The next day I might focus on bathrooms. The next day I might focus on doing the dusting. So cleaning schedule really helps me with accomplishing my goal of having a clean clean house. If I can remember, I will try to leave below the cleaning schedule that I use, and hopefully that will be helpful for you. But there are tons all over the internet you can use. Fly Lady is also a really great cleaning. She has an app that you can use, and that works really great for a lot of people. The next thing I really recommend is getting yourself a daily routine. So figure out what you need to be doing every day, and then figure out when are you going to do those things. And so I like to kind of break it up as far as like morning tasks, afternoon tasks, and evening tasks. And so I just kind of have, it's kind of like a block schedule where I just kind of have the things that I want to accomplish in those blocks of time every day. And then I just kind of refer back to it throughout the day to make sure I'm staying on track. Have you ever been walking through your house and you're just like, I know there's something I should be doing right now, but I have no idea what it is, and your brain is just fried from all the homeschooling and you're just like, I don't even know what to do? Well, in comes the daily routine. That helps me so much to kind of stay on track. I'm like, okay, it's 1 o'clock. This is my work hour. I need to be working on this and this and this for YouTube. Or it's 2 o'clock. This is my cleaning hour. Okay, I need to be doing the bathrooms today. Okay. So it just kind of helps me stay focused. Also, this is a big one. Get your kids involved. Kids need to be doing chores every single day. It teaches them responsibility. It teaches them character. And listen, guys, we're homeschooling kids, and homeschooling your child is not just about academics. It's about homeschooling the whole child. So if you want your child to be a productive member of society, they need to have chores. Yes, this takes a lot of time. Yes, I can do it all way faster myself, but that is not going to benefit them in the long run. And it's really not going to even benefit me in the long run, because the more we can train kids to help us, the easier it will be on us, right? Because we'll have well-trained kids that are soon adults that will be able to help us with our tasks, right? So we do chores in our family, even down to the littlest kid has a few little chores that he does. Even my 3-year-old all the way up to my 10-year-old, they all have chores that they're doing throughout the day, and it helps our family so much. It blesses our family so much. It is a way we all work together as a team. So yes, you are going to have to train them in this, and you're going to have to train them over and over and over and over, because it's not just going to come natural. They're not just going to naturally want to do it, and they're not going to get it right the first maybe even 100 times that they do it. But eventually, with persistence and consistency and constant training, they will get there, and they will end up doing a beautiful, great job. But it does take time, and it does take a lot of consistency. Now, maybe you're thinking, there's no way I can do that. I don't have time to train my kids to clean the bathroom. Okay, well, to that I would say, why don't you have time? Are you doing too much? Are you going too many places? Are there too many activities that you're involved in? And if the answer to that is yes, I would highly recommend you pull back from some things like that, because this is essential to your child's well-being. For them to be a successful adult, they need to know how to do basic chores. And if you don't have time to train them, that's a huge disadvantage for them. Okay, y'all, I am actually a recovering perfectionist. I still struggle with this some, but I'm getting better. So I wanted to mention that you need to focus on progress, not perfection, because God has not called us to perfection. It's not in the Bible. He calls us to do our best, but he doesn't call us to be perfect. And actually, we can't. We'll never be perfect, right? Only Jesus was perfect. And if you try, you're going to end up in a place where you're just a negative person, and you're just down on yourself all the time. You're down on others a lot, and it will just bring you to a place where you're very unhappy and not fun to be around. So once you release those expectations, once you release trying to be perfect, you're going to see that your homemaking really isn't as bad as you think it is. I'm sure you guys are all doing way better than you even think you are, because your kids get fed. Their beds are probably most of the time made. Your floors are probably most of the time fairly clean. So call those things a win. You're doing a great job, mama. Don't be so hard on yourself, and don't focus on all of the negative things. Try to focus on the things that you're doing right. So I encourage you to spend some time in prayer on this. Ask the Lord, ask your husband, what are our priorities for our family? How can I accomplish these? How can I work on not being perfect? How can I work on balancing? And God will direct you in that. Okay, so be sure that you pray about it. Balancing homemaking and homeschooling doesn't have to be stressful. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. And once you give some thought to how you can structure your day to get your priorities done, you're going to develop a sense of control, a sense of feeling like you have some balance in your life. You just have to take it one step at a time. I hope these tips were helpful for you guys. Please let me know below, what is one way that you keep your homemaking and homeschooling balanced? I would love to hear from you guys. And I hope you found this video helpful and it gave you some tips and tools that you can use to help balance your homemaking and homeschooling. Well guys, that is it for this video, and I will see you guys back here hopefully next week for another video if I can get these kids feeling well again. But thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.